This edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Today we try out the all-new 2014 Subaru Forester. Now, if you're familiar with the Subaru lineup, the Forester basically is the subcompact SUV slash crossover in the family lineup. Now, basically what that means is it's going to offer decent room inside under kind of a sedan-like length, but again, it's going to give you kind of an SUV or crossover feel. Now, what I love about the exterior appeal on this is that when you talk about crossovers and you see some of these models that are out, you typically can get some rounded haunches. You're going to get some kind of maybe sometimes weird looks, but basically this is kind of an SUV sedan kind of blend. So a crossover is maybe just one of the descriptions that you could give this vehicle. Now, when you look at the numbers, they've increased everything just a little bit. By the wheelbase, they've gone up about an inch, around about 103.9 inches. Overall, they've gone up 1.5 inches, got about 181 inches overall, with just a little bit. Now, what I love about this exterior is that they've redesigned it for 2014. And one of the biggest things you'll notice on this turbo model that's missing is right here on the hood, and that's the scoop. What they've done is actually re-engineered that, actually made all the air duct kind of under the hood. So again, you got good visibility across the front. You've kind of got rid of that, which is better for those kind of four cylinders they got out that have that scoop. You really don't need it on this vehicle. So by getting rid of that, you streamline this whole front end, and you basically have given you a little bit better front end clearance that you can see out the front much better. Now, the biggest change you will find for the 2014 is right up here front and center, and we already talked about the scoop, of course, and what you'll notice right away is that with the scoop gone, where does the air go? Of course, it's tucked down way down low, and you'll see the air intake will actually come through here and then cool the engine and feed the turbocharge. Now, what I love down here is, of course, you have the implied imports here. These actually aren't functional. A little port, of course, for the fog lights should this car come with them. And you've got new headlight designs and, of course, this black insert. This gives this vehicle a dramatic appeal. We always talk about SUVs and crossovers and things like that getting too geekish and getting away from this rugged off-road vehicle that we know it can do. So we need to stick with aggressive, and that's what this front end does for this vehicle. Now, again, looking at the profile of the Forester, you've got to realize, of course, you got the Outback, which is more your station wagon like appeal like I've seen, and you've got the Tribeca, which is the bigger sibling in the family with 3 rows. Now, this vehicle, of course, it blends all the lines. Is it a wagon? Is it a crossover? Is it a subcompact SUV? And, of course, that's up for your interpretation. I feel it blends all of it very well. Again, this vehicle comes with the all-wheel drive system automatically. It no longer is an option. It comes standard, which basically puts this in class leading above all other segments, as you will be able to go anywhere you want in this vehicle, and that's what you expect from a Subaru. Now, to couple with that, of course, you've got the lower cladding in the sides and in the front, and you've got some great 18-inch wheels here. Now, what I love about these are the first things that people notice, and they have kind of a nice kind of chrome and black accents, and it makes for a dramatic sport appeal. Now, one thing I did notice is the amount of glass on this vehicle, and that does tend to lead to a greenhouse-like effect on the inside, the biggest of which is kind of when it's hot and you feel the temperature start to rise. And what you'll notice is up front, all this glass, even right down here, first gives you great visibility. There is not a typical blind spot on this vehicle, as they've moved the mirrors just a hair, giving you this little port here so you can always see out. And the front glass, to me, is enormous. But how that translates when it's hot outside, the sun's baking down, is another thing. And it tends to heat up this vehicle quite quickly. Now, the model we tested this week is the Premium Edition, which to me, right off the bat, means options that you would typically find on other vehicles, or at least upgrades. Now, one upgrade that we did not find on this model is the kind of smart key system we've seen a lot of on a lot of vehicles we've tested lately. Now, what that basically is, of course, is the proximity entry. Leave the key in your pocket, press the corresponding button, and everything unlocks. At least get close to the vehicle. Now, this one, of course, is the old traditional key and keyless remote. Now, basically what that means is I've gotten accustomed to being able to come to a vehicle, hands all full of things, and the vehicle knows I'm there. On this, it's not the case. You have to unlock it. You have to go to the old school version. Now, it may sound like a gripe, but on a vehicle like this, where we are offering new amenities for 2014, I wish this was one that they had taken the time to offer. Now, at the back of the Forester, there is nothing shocking or overly appealing about it. It is the back of the vehicle, but you do have a built-in rear spoiler. You do have the roof racks. Of course, you put in the crossbars or the other amenities that carry bikes and things like that. Now, of course, at the back, we don't have a power lift, which is to be expected. You don't need it here. It does have electronic release, which is great. It goes right up with the nice hydraulics. And back here, you're going to find tons of cargo space, especially on this kind of subcompact like sport utility vehicle crossover. Now back here you got over 30 cubic feet. Fold the rear seats down and you're going to more than double that. Now basically this offered all the amenities that we could expect, and you got plenty of room back here. You of course got underneath here, you got some little niches that you can put things in and hide away so they're not slinging around. And we just find that this is a nice crossover vehicle that offers all the leg room and interior volume for passengers, and of course carries all that gear as well, either in here or on top. Now, one notable feature to mention here is the Achilles heel for some vehicles, and is the spare tire. I notice on a lot of occasions these vehicles are not offering it. On this one it does, but at first glance you actually cannot find it. You cannot actually see it from underneath, and you can't see it once you open this first cargo floor. You look and of course you see these niches that are built in. You actually take this kind of foam material out, and then the spare is actually built right down in here, of course, with the jacks and the various tools you're going to need to change it. And of course you're going to want that because this vehicle is a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive like model, so you're going to take it off the road and you may get the occasional flat tire. So having that spare built in on this vehicle is an added bonus. Now, once you climb inside the Forester, one thing you're not going to find is the wow factor. This vehicle just does not offer that kind of ooh la la. I'm referring to basically the touch screen like systems, a huge iPad on the dash that are built in. This is still straightforward Subaru. But one thing that I did not find that is basic is legroom. Now in this vehicle you're going to find 43 inches up front. Now that's enormous by any standards, and on this vehicle in reference to subcompact, that's a great offering. Now typically when you get to the back you're going to find some loss. Not much here. Again, you got about 41 inches in the back. And that is enormous. Most vehicles are going to be typically 39, 38, even 35 inches in the back. So to have more than 40 inches when you get to that second row is fabulous. And on a vehicle, of course, that the dimensions are again subcompact, and to have that much offering means anywhere in this vehicle is going to be great comfort. Now again, this is the premium edition on this model, so when you get inside and you start to get the creature comforts of it, you have to kind of step back for a second and realize, okay, maybe they're doing things different here. Again, you look at the front dash here, it's stereotypical kind of old school. You got the old traditional key, of course, and right here on the dash is just a kind of a throwback radio. It is not the whole inventive touchscreen that we're used to. We've seen on the MyLinks, on even the economic Chevys and things like that. So you kind of take a little bit of getting used to. You want to touchscreen something and it's just not there. But it does have what you need. And it is old school, and maybe it's not the current kind of wow factor that a lot of these vehicles are offering, but this is straight Subaru-esque. But it still has everything you need. It has all the controls you want on your steering. It has some Bluetooth capabilities. One thing that was missing that kind of I had a withdrawal factor was XM Sirius satellite radio. I had to go to the old terrestrial, and of course you can add that as an option, but this was not found in this vehicle. Now behind the dash, of course, the steering wheel here, you're going to have the old analog dials, the huge tachometer, huge speedometer, nothing again wow factor there, a little bit of information that you need. And what you're going to love is the gas fuel economy readout. Now what I love about that is you get instant feedback. It tells you on average how you're doing with your driving. And on this vehicle, even though it's a turbo model, you're still getting great numbers, typically 25 to 30-ish. We average somewhere between around 28 miles per gallon, and that's great on the vehicle, especially when you start doing crossover SUV. You expect good gas mileage, but seriously, anything over 25 is a bonus. Now the Forester comes equipped with either a 2.5 liter or a 2.0 turbocharged model like we have here, both 4 cylinders. Now what that does is deliver around about 170 horses and 174 foot-pounds of torque for the 2.5 model. Now if you go with the turbocharged model here, it's going to up your horses to around about 250 horses and 258 foot-pounds of torque. Now what's great about that is they've coupled it with the automatic CVT transmission. Now what that basically means is that on this vehicle we actually have paddle shifters, and when coupled with the CVT and the SI drive mode. Now what the SI drive mode does is allows you to select the styling kind of driving dynamics that you're looking for. It either has intelligent, sport, or sport sharp. Now the intelligent is for the commutes and things like that, hence the word intelligent. It means you're trying to save fuel economy, and you're driving your everyday hauler. Now the sport mode, when you do that, you're going to couple it with the paddle shifters again, and you're going to be in a 6-speed manual-like mode, and you're going to have more dynamic appeal, and you're going to get off the line as you want. Now, of course, if you go into the sport sharp mode, what that does, it actually enhances the 8-speed manual-like mode and actually delivers even more enhancements off the line. So this vehicle delivers everything you need. It has the all-wheel drive, of course, has these sport modes, and what I find is it gets off the line spirited, and we literally just tested the Jeep SRT, so we know what spirited is. Now, we didn't test, of course, 0 to 6 on this model, but we think that off the line, you definitely can boot, scoot, and boogie. Now we talked about earlier the kind of non-wow factor when you get in this vehicle. Now again, this is the premium edition, so with that name we kind of expected it to be premium options, and it's just not. Now where you'll find those is on the touring model, and we kind of hinted right here as it kind of being, you know, old school, but they will and do enhance that, of course, if you go to the touring model, which does go back to the 6.1 big navigation screen, has all those creature comforts and high class options that you may be looking for. So now while this model may be more straightforward and kind of didn't give me that wow factor, you can of course go to the tour model. That does of course add to the bottom line, but this vehicle again is straightforward and did offer what we wanted. It had of course simple climate controls. It does have this nifty info screen up here, which basically gives you the time. It has the reverse camera, which is a little bit small, but gives you everything you need to see when you're going backwards. We also love the kind of huge moonroof that this vehicle has. Gives you a lot of light in if you need it. Of course, we talked about all the glass in this vehicle and that greenhouse-like effect when this vehicle heats up on those hot summer days. You may or may not need that. Now we tested out the 2014 Subaru Forester, and what we loved for this year is the new enhancements that they offer. The new front end, they minus the scoop on the hood, and you've got plenty of visibility on this vehicle. We also love the interior comfort and amenities on the inside, basically legroom galore. And again, even though this one didn't have the wow factor on the dash, you can of course upgrade to that. But again, you have great power under the hood. We had the turbocharged model, which again gets you off the line and gives you that dynamic 6-speed or 8-speed manual-like mode. Now again, I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior, and as always, keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.